About 50 people have been killed after terrorists stormed Kasuwar Daji Market in Bogu local government area of Niger State. The attackers also abducted scores of people, including women and children. The assault comes amid stepped-up military raids on bandit hideouts across forests linking Zamfara, Kebbi, Sokoto, and Niger states. It also follows recent U.S. military strikes targeting armed groups operating in the region. The federal government has ordered security forces to pursue the fleeing attackers and rescue those taken. Still, questions persist over the impact of the joint Nigeria-U.S. operations and the recently declared national security emergency. We'll examine the security implications shortly with our guest, Dr. Dauda Adamu, a security and strategy scholar. Dr. Adamu, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
You're welcome to this program.
Thank you.
With your distinctive Ashiwaju cap. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Well, as you can see from the preceding notes, a tragedy occurred where about 50 persons and counting have been killed by terrorists. We thought that somewhere in Niger State, in Bogu local government, tragedy as a matter of fact, because it's the opening of the year, we thought that things like this would have been ebbing. But now we're seeing them, as in this case, coming up. And we will begin to wonder what can be done really to ebb this, to stop this, if at least, if the country can be rid of this in this year.
Well, it is indeed a very touching and heartbroken moment for us as Nigerians with the incident that had taken place in Borgu. It just shows you the security challenges that we are facing as people who we are being confronted with as a nation that requires all hands to be on deck. It is sad, and I send my condolences to those who lost their lives, and also admonished the security forces that are in charge of pursuing those who carry out this atrocity, to be brought to justice. It's hard to talk about security. It is a very sensitive and a very complicated topic. But all I can say on what to do, the steps are being taken. The government in place had taken some initiatives, and one of the initiatives, like you mentioned, is the security emergency that is being put in place. A few days ago, the president appeared before the National Assembly and he presented a budget of about 58 trillion, thereabouts, and the largest sectional budget to any ministry ever was that of the security, about 8.4 trillion. That tells you how much, investment is being put to ensure that security challenges in this country are confronted with all resources available at our disposal.
But let me get a perspective there. Over the years, the defense budget has been quite ballooning. Every year we hear, massive allocations of resources to the defense sector to be able to cope with the challenges of security in this country as they are growing, exponentially. Yet, we have not been able to get to the bottom of this. In fact, with the recent bombing by the United States of America, we would have thought that, there should be some de-escalation on the part of the terrorists and the people, engaged in these acts across the country. And also, to be, let's admit it, the recent, step up operations by the Air Force and the Army in going after this. Yet, here we are again, the terrorists acting with wanton impunity. What really is happening? Is it that the funds do not get to the defense on time to be able to procure the necessary platforms to be able to cope with this, or what's happening? And we still keep having this all the time in the country.
First of all, you see, you need to understand the pattern of these criminalities called terrorism and banditry and what have you. It has been commercialized in a way, in such a way that the players in need have found themselves in need or a way to make, money. So every day the military intelligence and other sister agencies are sitting to strategize on how they will they could tackle these issues or confront them. The same players or the non-state actors that are having access to this, arms that they are using to attack people are also revolving over the years. So as you are spending to confront them, they are also coming up with strategy on how they will make sure that what you are actually doing, you do not really, see a positive result. And so we are not going to stop. I don't think the government is ever ready to even slow down. As they speed up, so we also going to keep, pushing and pushing and pushing until we are able to get to the logical, causes and the root and deal with them decisively. The operation that took place in Sokoto, one would think that, like you said, it will help to de-escalate the matter, but however, because they are also evolving, they want to prove a point that, look, probably that operation was not as effective as it should be. But whereas the case is that, that single act was a very successful one, and the effect of it is what they are actually, doing right now, to move around, to keep, so that they get the sympathy of the general public that the security apparatus are not doing their job as they should. You understand? So that's my own take from it.
Yeah, but what I want to also bring to your attention is that area right across the Niger State, in fact, has become more or less like a killing field now, because over the past months, there have been attacks. Niger State has become a theater of attacks on villages, on markets like this, and many other places. And look at now, that area right up to Kwara State is contiguous. The forests around there have become staging points, forward operating points for these terrorists. And they have been doing that for quite some time. Why haven't the military, is being able to map that place out and ensure that they degrade the ability of the terrorists to attack at will in those areas, especially given the fact that the new defense minister had promised that there won't be any attacks of this nature again. Is this not, some, as Nigerians are saying, a failure on the part of the APC government?
I don't think it is a failure on the part of the APC government. We inherited this security right from when PDP was actually in place, and as far as investing in security to ensure that these things are being confronted, we all have the figures. We know, like I said, the pattern is that the operation, as we pushed, you understand, they also pushed back. The African operation that took place in Sokoto and some part of Kwara State, you understand. It was not a day, operation. It was an operation that took a certain number of days with gathering of intelligence. And this intelligence were gathered in such a way that these locations that we're actually talking about are inaccessible to the boots on ground. You understand? So they gather this intelligence and, pass it on to our counterpart, those who are in the joint operation with us, and then that is how they got the signal that there were some regrouping. Just like, as you dispatch them from here, they move or they give signal to carry out another attack to prove that, look, you are inefficient or you are ineffective. But you shouldn't give up. We should keep pushing and pushing and pushing. The most important thing is that there is what do you call it, deliberate attempt by the government to ensure that these things are actually brought to an end. And like I said, if you look at the security budget, you understand, or the defense budget, it tells you that a president who is not interested in tackling insecurity will not budget as much money as he did to make sure that insecurity is being tackled. So it's a complex situation. Let me
even give you. You're talking about the complexity. I'll give you. Recently, the former chief of army staff, who was also, I think, Minister of Internal Affairs, retired General Abdurrahman Dambazo, in a public lecture, said that yes, Nigerians would be hearing in that a lot of money has been budgeted for the defense operations, for the defense ministry, but that eventually the money that gets to the defense ministry is just just about 40% of what has been budgeted. And we hear a lot of figures, but at the end of the day, only 40% of the money goes to the defense, and it has been happening consistently. Now, if a government says it is fighting security and is voting this amount of money, we hear from the mouth of the operators, the generals, that this money doesn't get to us as it should. By the time it gets to us, a new year comes over, it's just about 40% of what has been budgeted. How then can government, rescue itself out of these allegations?
So bureaucratic bottleneck in government agency is something that had been there for a very long time, and in most cases, it's what affects majority of operations. The general may be speaking from the position of knowledge or personal opinion or experience that he had based on his previous role that he has played in the military and in the security intelligence. But the reality of it is that, like I said, security issue is a very complex one. Security budget is not something that one should sit down on the TV and disclose it and discuss about it. Do you understand? Because of the nature of their spending. And I'm sure the general also is aware of that. If you come with a figure, and in fact, that's one of the reasons why more often than not in that industry, you don't disclose amounts. Rather, you try as much as possible to make sure that the effect of whatever it is that have been appropriated is being felt by the people. You understand? So, because you have to be careful. A lot of politics, have been going around defense spending in a way that more often than not, people tend to forget the actual job being done on the ground, how much had been achieved. Rather, they will be focusing on the amount. How much? You understand? But a lot had been going on. This country had gone through all kinds of challenges. What we are being confronted today, it is not something, that should be, that should not be of concern to all of us. It should be of a serious concern to all of us. However, the case of politicizing security spending, and to say, how much has gone where and where, there are a lot of ways where these funds are being spent. Info grants, operation, that, intelligent gathering, and what have you. The equipment, itself, the amount that probably goes to the buying of the equipment is
the procurement.
The procurement aspect of it, because there are different components of this security, from using kinetic to non-kinetic, info grants, and intelligent gathering, and what.
But let me take you back to the American attack. On
the military the joint operation.
Yeah, joint operations.
Exactly.
Let me get you back. Well, it is.
No, it's a joint operation.
Well, that's what. But then Nigerians, it has raised a lot of issues.
It was an operation that was carried out by AFRICOM. It
Yes,
was
it's
not
an African.
exactly.
It's an American outfit. Anyway.
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
with
It's an American outfit. But what
with
I
the
want,
consent of the Nigerian government.
yes, okay, yeah,
Yes.
we've had that. But the question we want to say is that before the attack, President Trump said he was going to attack terrorists that have been, killing Christians, resulting in Christian genocides, allegedly. And Nigerians expected that. You are a security and strategy scholar. Nigerians expected that he will carry, America, the AFRICOM, let me use your terminology now, AFRICOM would target those areas that were prone to those, the Christians were being killed. Areas like Plateau, Benue, and those areas in the central parts of Nigeria. And lo and behold, when the Americans decided to, make good their threats to attack, they concentrated on a place far removed from where the allegations of genocide against Christians was taking place.
Okay, so,
it took place in Sokoto, Tangaza
community.
Local government.
Yes.
And that area, as far as I know, and many Nigerians know, are almost 100% Muslims. And then, if there are any terrorists operating in that area, they may not have had anything to do with what is happening in central parts of Nigeria. So there's a lot of incongruity about this. What really can you take us through this? Because you are the security and strategy expert. What really is what do the Americans hope to achieve with this?
Okay, so I want to be careful with what I said, and I want to be deliberate also in some certain things that I say. See, I want to separate what Trump has said with what had been on ground even before Trump said what he said. I told you the Trump statement came towards the eve of Christmas.
Yeah, on the eve of Christmas, yeah.
Towards before that was before the operation. But the African operation had been on ground long before Trump made that statement. And then the focus, like everywhere, all over the world, wherever insecurity become a serious issue and America had an interest there, they have a joint operation where they provide intelligence coordination. You understand? And our men, in some cases, provide intelligence to them, and so they also, from their own the technology that they are privy with, they review the situation, and then the leadership of both countries, come together to unanimously take a decision on what to be done. I don't know if it was a coincidence that Trump made that statement at the point when this intelligence came, and that operation took place also on the eve, on Christmas Day, and a location where there is supposed to be a Muslim-dominated, area. But again, if you go through the releases, the point was that the reasons why those attacks took place there were because of the intelligence being provided on certain moves done by the same people that are running away from far northeast that you're actually talking about, regrouping somewhere within an interested location. That was why, that place was actually a target. It was explained by the Minister of Information and also Minister of Foreign Affairs and all the people who are involved in government-to-government relationships. You see, but my worry is not even about the Trump statement. It is the reality of a typical Nigerian. How Nigerians are so interconnected with one another that anything religious can easily aggravate our current situation rather than create, provide a solution. After the Trump comment, if you go to social media, you see all kinds of, counter accusation upon accusation, amongst Nigeria themselves that live together, that could tell that truly, like indeed, except they are being, with the truth, that terrorism in Nigeria has no religion, no tribe, no region whatsoever. It's pure criminality. And because the criminality, people have a certain target, you understand, they are after. It's financial in nature. Whatever it is that they are after, they are actually getting it, and that is why they keep going about it over and over. And so that's why I find it very, very difficult to talk about what Trump said and what is actually on ground.
But the questions raging really about this attack, especially seeing, what the Minister of Information and the Minister of Foreign Affairs said, is that, look, an army, a military that was able to go into places like Liberia, Sierra Leone, Somalia, and other places, and acquitted itself creditably, and did the job, very efficiently, very professionally, should now be found wanting, should now find it difficult to even, subdue a bunch of terrorists within the territory that it is supposed to be its own domain. So why go and outsource this very important operation to Americans? If the Americans are going to aid us, why couldn't they collaborate with us in different form rather than raining bombs on us? Because at the end of the day, Nigerians are going to be killed. Americans are not going to put their boots on ground, and then we are going to live with the fallouts of that. Why couldn't this army that at one point was ranked as the fourth most efficient infantry army not be able to handle this issue without necessarily bringing the Americans or any foreign power for that?
If you remember the late President Muhammadu Buhari, when he was asked almost similar question as you are asking me, he was giving some of the reasons why our challenges become very overwhelming. It was because of the issue of Libyan, outside of Colonel Gaddafi.
The outside of Gaddafi,
a lot of small arms and what have you, moved towards
the West Sahelian part of Africa.
The Sahelian part of Africa down to the Gulf of Guinea countries and the rest. There were a lot of these things in the hands of non-state actors. And there is one thing that you have to understand. The nature of the war in Liberia and what we are being confronted with in Nigeria is completely different. The nature of some of the criminality that is ongoing are people that you even lived with. You can't even separate them from the people who are not even criminals. And there are a lot of emotional connectivity because of, the religious differences, social inequality, and what have you. A lot of people are sympathetic towards criminals for whatever reason, simply because they want to prove a point or they want to create a narrative that will give them an edge to actually present themselves for political leadership. I'm not speaking for terrorists. Any terrorist, any criminal, anywhere in Nigeria, anywhere in the world, as long as that person's intention is to kill another person, he deserves to be killed. He deserves to be dealt with, irrespective of that person's religion. You understand? Our men have done well in other places. That doesn't mean that they are not doing well. And then the issue of whether we are outsourcing, we are not outsourcing. It's just joint operation. You see, we have a lot of operations that more often than not, they are not in the public domain. Coincidentally, this very one came at a time when some unguided statements were ongoing that created a narrative of religious, but every Nigerian who lives today, who is looking for a safe Nigeria, knows that the criminality that ranges from terrorism, kidnapping, and banditries have no face. They don't care where you belong to. They don't care what religion you practice. All they are interested is the economic, value they are able to get from it. Nigeria is evolving. There are a lot of discovery of mineral resources, or what I call resources of interest, all over spread. And non-state actors, you understand, because of one of the reasons that I told you, case of social inequality, you understand, a lot of people are taking laws into their hands. And when they get a willing party, it's easier for them to actually jump into that criminality all in the name of...
Let me take us back to what happened in Bogu. Let's take that as an example. It's been happening. across the whole country. It happens in the central part of Nigeria, in the northwest part of Nigeria, in the northeast. And these people have taken advantage to strike at will. We would have thought that the Americans, with their superior intelligence mapping, with their ability to, to be able to, find out where these people are operating, because they have been operating, for quite some time now, and they should have been able to map out where they are and to even carry those attacks there. But we see again these things happening, a pattern of this thing happening. And then, surprisingly, when the Americans, joint operations happen, there should have been at least targets on those areas. But interestingly, there wasn't.
What
What
makes you think that there are no current, intelligence in those areas? You see, the complication in Nigeria is these locations that you're actually talking about. Most of these locations are not accessible by our men. Or even before they even get there, you understand, the operation had already taken place.
So why can they now, seek the support, the assistance of the Americans who have?
How the joint operation works, you keep saying America, because I don't want a situation where America dominate our conversation. It is a joint operation. It is clear. It has been defined, and everybody has accepted it was a very successful operation, even though the timing and the location. How do you not
determine the success when no victims have been identified, no terrorists, non-terrorists that we know have been operating in that area have been, eliminated, and it's just tomahawk.
This is part of the security complication that you may not understand. By the time with what was already on ground, some of this information begin to fill into the public. It's likely going to create more tension than even the problem that is trying to solve. A lot of joint operation had taken place. It's not every operation that the military or the intelligence community will reveal to you or the success. And in fact, sometimes...
No, I don't think Nigerians will be satisfied with that, because this thing is happening in our country. These people, we have been calling on the government to go after these people. And now that somehow operations have happened, at least there must be some briefing. There was
briefing. There's still, you understand?
We got to know about it from the Americans. If it's a joint operation, the operation took place in Nigerian territory. It's on Nigerian targets. There should have been information, or in the planning of this operation, there should have been at least some kind of information dissemination from our own side, rather than to wake up on Christmas Day and hear that a part of Nigeria has been bombed by by Americans, and then nobody, Defense Ministry did not, Defense Ministry, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Information. There should have been a joint press, even with, they
gave the briefing. You see, the concern of Nigerians and a lot of people is that whether the sovereignty of Nigeria had been violated. But with the information that we have right now available to us, you understand, as learned as we are, we should know, you and I should not be discussing whether Nigerian sovereignty had been violated or not. Because already, if we do not have information before, now we have information and how this operation actually took place. Like I said to you earlier, the African and other joint military operation taking place as a result in the northeast and all over Nigeria and other places, it's not something that had taken place, that started today. It was not a day operation. It was something that had been in the pipeline for a very long time. Unfortunately for us, that particular incident happened at a time that coincided with a statement, allegedly made by the President of America. But again, for me, these things are very, very sensitive and very, very complicated. We have to treat it with all sense of patriotism. You and I and every Nigerian who believes in this country must come out.
We believe in this country, but we were also
to help our men that are risking their life in the front line to keep this country
and
safe.
we continue to pray for them that they succeed and that they succeed in what they're doing to safeguard. And we praise them, really. We praise them. But what we are concerned, and what many Nigerians are concerned, is after the bombing, President Trump beat his chest and said, yeah, we've had a successful outing and we've done this, we've done that. And at the end of the day, there should be a post-mortem of these activities.
It's ongoing.
No, let me just make this point. There should have been a post-mortem. And this post-mortem should reveal to us the extent, the extent of the operations and what happened, and what the body count, for instance. Yes, it's very important. And who were affected by this and what and all that. Nothing of such happened. So people begin to ask, hey, what the hell is this? Are the Americans truly jacking us off, or is this that they're just having a...
I don't think so.
Yeah, because really from the statement of Donald Trump and what really happened, there seems to be a case
contradiction.
Yeah, exactly, a contradiction. Yeah. We shouldn't play footsie with these security issues.
Yeah.
Because if the Americans are going to come, we want to see a decisive, impact. But now we see what is happening. Just a week after, we see this big massacre in Bogu, and
very, very sad.
Very sad massacre.
It is,
and then so it's like the terrorists are saying, well, yeah, you can do what you do, but we are free to act, and we have done it. So we want to know, want to be assured.
I feel so sorry for the perpetrator of that act, because their days are numbers, and our prayers as patriotic citizens is that wherever they are hiding, God will give our men in the front line the resilience, the patience, the opportunity to be able to put them out. You understand? I don't want us to politicize security matter on your show, but the reality of it is that there are a lot of people who are celebrating what is happening. We are pained by it, and I'm sure the president of Nigeria is at a sober reflection moment, and all the people who are charged with the responsibility of guiding and protecting the integrity of this country are also worried about what is happening. I appeal to each and every one of us to help, because it's not just like governance. You understand? Everyone has a role to play. If you give the responsibility to our military, you can also help this military, because most of these locations are inaccessible. They don't have proper communication channel. Sometimes the people who perpetrated this evil slip into this community slowly, one after the other. They don't go in group where you can actually pinpoint them. Do you understand? And most of them, they all have their feelers around. So they move in up until when it is time for them to carry out their evil act. Then they act. And because you don't even know how they even got into those communities. And again, see, one of the greatest issues that we have right now, particularly within the North Central, is the discovery of resources within these areas. And land became a center of attraction to many people, that even a community will give that is aggrieved because of border-related issue. Majority of the cases that is happening within the North Central are not religious in nature. Is it between the thief man or the Juku man, or between the tribes in Plateau State? Most of these are mining related, and that is almost similar that is happening in the Northwest. There are a lot of mining activities ongoing in some of these areas.
Let's cut to the chase. Now, look, the government, in addition to joint operations with the Americans now, is a joint operation. The government has declared security emergency. You are aware of that. Okay. The army has stepped up, operations in where terrorists are operating, and sundry efforts, and these are commendable efforts, because really it has shown that the government is really, up to task, and is really, doing something about what has agitated the minds of Nigerians. But again, there are some Nigerians who have said, look, the government also has to look within. We have, in those areas where these terrorists are operating, there are supposed to be forest guards. Those forest guards are the people who are supposed to actually get into those areas, into the forests and into those areas that the conventional, military and security outfits cannot go. But these guys still beat all these efforts. And then the government keeps telling us, we're working. And things like this, like happened in Borgu, happen. And we are not praying that it happens, continues to happen. We want the army to be able to get, army and authorities to be able to get to the bottom of this. But we want assurances that, yes, the emergency and the appointment of foreign guards and all kinds of outfits to be able to root out these guys wherever they are and prevent them, degrade them and prevent them from continue with these attacks. That is what will make Nigerians to feel satisfied that really the government is listening. And also accusations that some people, some very prominent people, I don't know, I don't give credence to that, to those accusations. But there are accusations that some of the very important personalities within the government are also in cahoots with some of these bandits. These are issues that your government and your government should be able to address adequately so that Nigerians would at least know that something is happening. Can you get, as a security and strategy expert, we should be able to hear from you, at least from your own perspective.
Okay, so regarding key personalities that are alleged to have been part of whatever it is that is actually happening with respect to our insecurity, it's something that has been there. We have been, there has been accusation and counter-accusation. Political party or the oppositions, will accuse the government will accuse the opposition. The reality of it, like I said earlier on, unfortunately, the issue of insecurity all over the world has been commercialized. People find a way, easy way to actually make money at the detriment of their own life and the lives of those people whom they are after. That is the most unfortunate, situation that we have found ourselves here. That today, criminality has taken over the place of education. Criminality has taken the place of moral upbringing. Criminality has taken the place of family. You understand? And people have become, I do not know how to describe it, because it's heartbroken. It beats me, to a point of no return, especially with what you and I are just talking about, what had happened in Borgu. You understand? These are matters that when you are a patriotic citizen, it gives you sleepless nights. And I'm sure those charged with the responsibility of ensuring that these people are brought to book are also not sleeping. They are doing their possible best. My hope and my prayer is that there should be a strategic collaboration between this community, because there's one thing that is missing, what they call community trust. You understand? And I said this to you earlier when I talked about the social inequality issue. This mistrust breeds resentment. You understand? That people ordinarily, because of this community is having what this community feel that it should have. Yeah? You understand? Communal crisis starts. Non-state actors take place, begin to recruit. It takes religion and tribal face. And before you know, pure criminality, you will see them hiding under tribe or religion, or territorial, supremacy to prove their point. And that's the reality.
This thing has been happening.
That's the reality of what is going on. It's either over land or over resources being discovered or political power. And the reason why now political power is because of the resources that are being discovered in those areas. So the people who are in that community also need to help with intelligence, with information, because at the end of the day, they say, like the houseman will say, if you game don't want
that is if your beard is
the beard of
figuratively,
your exactly
figuratively,
you should also.
But if the beard of you, for instance, you have a beard, you have a beard, it's on fire. The next thing I should do is to apply.
Water in your own.
Or kerosene.
No, kerosene. Preventive. Measure. But we are laughing about it. We go to social media and write and say this. And I am from a community where the Muslims and the Christians are
At loggerheads.
No, not loggerhead. They are cousins.
Yes, they're interrelated.
They are interrelated by blood.
Yep.
By blood.
Yeah.
Do you understand that if today you go to that community and you want to talk about religion, you don't even know whom you're actually going to.
This is like, it's almost all over in the northern part of Nigeria, at least.
Particularly the north central area,
Yes, yeah.
within the belt of Benue down to, Nasarawa. You find all these things. Do you understand? So it's something that is very, very heartbroken to see somebody on social media, saying things that don't make any sense. If we want to kill on religion, we'll kill all ourselves.
So what does that say about the claims about, the genocide, alleged, killing of Christians alone, when people, like in your own case now, you probably have brothers, and sisters, and uncles some who are Christians, some who are Muslims. So what does this really say about the allegations of genocide when people are interrelated?
The allegation of genocide, when I hear it sometimes, and it's because it affects people, and you have to be careful with their emotions as well. But it doesn't hold water.
Why?
If we look at so if you look at the composition of Nigeria,
how would you be able to explain this to somebody like Reverend Ezekiel Dachomo of Plateau State and some people in Benue and some people in other parts of those areas?
If we say I should explain that to somebody in Benue, in the same Benue today, as I'm talking to you right now, there are communal-related crises that is ongoing that has no bearing with religion. In Benue today, where you have the thieves that are predominantly Christians and the Idomas that are predominantly Christians, you understand, political power sharing does not occur among themselves. And an Idoma man will become a president of Nigeria and will never become a governor, in Benue. In my own neighborhood, Taraba State, between the Jukun man and the thief man, you understand, these are tribes that are predominantly Christians. From time immemorial, there had been crisis between the two of. Sometimes, how this thing became so complicated. They can seek help from a Fulani man, whom somehow, at one point, they are fighting with him. You understand? But if the moment they are fighting with this other person, they will seek. And so you begin to ask yourself, are the killing within the North Central, among those people who are predominantly of the same faith, also a genocide against its own self, or the killing that is ongoing in Zamfara State, where you have predominantly Muslims killing themselves? Do you also classify that as a genocide, a Muslim killing Muslim by themselves, or do you also claim the same thing in Plateau State? Some tribes, you understand, when the governor came out and they were saying, outside I can say, no, it was a case between two communities. Do you understand? So, but when it comes to the data that are out there for those who are trying to be, emotional, they have to be very, very careful on analyzing the data that is available to them. Nigeria, our president today is a Muslim. His wife is a Christian. His first son is a Muslim. The chief of army staff today in Nigeria is a Christian. The minister of defense in Nigeria...
the chief of army staff is a Muslim.
Okay.
Chief of defense staff.
Chief of defense staff, is a Christian. The current federal minister of defense is actually, do you think all these people, secretary to the government of the federation, is actually a Christian from a very large community of Catholics? Do you think these people will sit down with their fellow Muslim and accept and agree that a genocide should be carried out on their own people?
Let me the emphasis of this discussion is on what happened in Bogu. And we see that, like it has happened before, Mr. President has ordered that the attackers should be pursued and apprehended and brought to justice. And the people they had, abducted or kidnapped should be brought back. Mr. President has made such, given such directives in the past. And those directives have not been, to a very large extent, complied with, or at least, we haven't seen the efficacy of some of these directives. But we also see that when kids or school kids are kidnapped, promptly they are released. Why do we have this discrepancy, this discrepancy in compliance with directives and in making directives work on this part, on this side, while on this other side, it doesn't work?
Well, to give directive is different from what is happening on the field. You will give directive, you understand, ensuring that all the necessary support will be given to the men in the field to be able to carry out their tasks. And then the men in field, when this support is given to them, also are confronted with the way and manner these criminal guys operate. Some of these operations are successful, some of them are unsuccessful. Some result to loss of life, some result to, rescue. You understand? For me, from the time I have, come to realization of some of these things, and in my right sense, I could tell you that it may not happen immediately when this, when directives were given. But, the people who had been given the directive don't sleep until they are able to resolve the issue. In most cases, we have had it on record where some of these people or some of our brothers that have been kidnapped are being rescued. And I believe that this particular one, it's just a matter of time. By the grace of God, they will be rescued and they will be, with their own family. And our prayer is that it should not just be rescued. The people who did this should also be apprehended and be dealt with decisively.
Okay, you are obviously an APC stalwart, and very much so from
proudly.
Proudly, yeah, and you have also, a disciple of Asiwaju from, your. Listen, and I also have it on good authority that you recently named after Asiwaju, but you must also be concerned that your party is now facing quite a lot of challenges. You are, a new opposition party is coming up, it's gearing up, and your party seems to be, well, it looks like your party is making it, making it, but then you must also be surprised, or you must also be concerned that your party is also looking like it's going to have a lot of issues and challenges from this, this thing. How do you, respond to that?
Okay, first thing first, I wouldn't want to speak about my family, but because, you asked a question that is related to naming my child after the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It was a very, thought that was on conviction because of what we have, studied over the year of who President Asiwaju is. My prayer is that, like one of my grandmothers say, "Hala enshi na korei yebishallah esaya bishi," and that's my prayer as well. I named him because sometimes there are some certain, simple gesture that you do to the other side of the divide, particularly now with all these, North versus South, to saying that, look, this man, President Tinubu, has admirers all over Nigeria, and he's popular to the extent that one of his...
But there are also insinuations, very strong insinuations, and rather statements, that is likely to be a one-term president.
Well, with
all these challenges.
I'm coming. You ask question. I'm just trying to answer one after the other. Now, these were my reasons of naming my child after the president, just to send that handshake to the South that we are all one Nigeria, and President Tinubu has done well and deserve, to be recognized in that nature. That's by the way. Now, regarding my party, I can go to sleep. You understand? And snow till the following morning, knowing fully well that we are in control. You understand?
That doesn't mean that does not indicate that you are going to get.
We have had elections within this alignment and realignment period, and the result spoke for itself. We have had by-elections where the president was not even involved. These were state assembly elections. And the result that came from this community that people are claiming APC is not popular was overwhelming. APC won some of this election hands down. You understand? And today, every day, people are trooping into the APC. In fact, we are deciding who should come to APC and who shouldn't come to APC. If APC and the president is not popular, people will not be trooping. And the 2027 election is in the hands of God. However, even though INEC is yet to ring the bell for campaign or anything, but I can tell you, with our achievement, with what had been recorded from road infrastructure to health and interior, all those indices is working.
But don't forget
making sure that
the power to determine whether you come back is in the hands of the people of Nigeria,
yes,
not governors.
Of course,
not
governors are head that they are the heads of their states. You understand?
The governor has only one vote.
He has one vote, but again, he is the leader. You understand, of his own state. He has machineries that are within his, that will help to give us an added advantage. The people will vote at the end of the day. And our prayer is that the best man wins. But as far as APC is concerned, APC is prepared. If today the presidential election is to hold, I can tell you, that the APC will come out and the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima will come, out victorious.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dauda Adamu, for this your wonderful insight into the security and political aspects of this country.
Thank you so much.
Viewers, and that's a wrap up on this week's edition of Sunday Politics. On behalf of the team, I'm Ilyasu Gadu. See you soon.